Ladies and gentlemen, your assumptions create your reality. This simple truth governs all things, yet most remain unaware of its power. Every experience in your life, every person you encounter, every situation you find yourself in is nothing more than a reflection of your internal state. You are not at the mercy of fate, nor are you subject to random chance. The world is responding to you, not to your efforts, not to your struggles, but to your deepest convictions about yourself and life. Everything you now experience was once only a thought, a belief, an assumption held within you. It was not your actions that brought it into being, but the quiet acceptance of it as true. If you assume yourself to be successful, opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere. If you assume yourself to be loved, the right people gravitate toward you. If you assume yourself to be unlucky, problems appear at every turn. The world does not judge whether your assumption is good or bad, it simply reflects it back to you. Many misunderstand this principle. They believe they must work tirelessly to achieve what they desire. They believe they must fight against circumstances and force their will upon reality. But effort alone does not create. How many people do you know who work tirelessly, yet remain stuck? How many struggle day after day, yet see no change? Effort is meaningless if it is not backed by the right assumption. The truth is, the most powerful force in your life is your ability to assume something as real before the evidence appears. Most people do the opposite. They wait for proof. They say, I will believe I am successful when I see it, but this is backward thinking. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you what you expect. You do not need to see proof first. Your assumption is the proof, and the world will follow. To truly harness this power, you must shift your awareness. The moment you desire something, instead of wondering how it will happen, assume that it already has. Feel the reality of it within you. Rest in that feeling, not as if you are waiting for it to come, but as if it already exists. This is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is the conscious act of assuming something as real. Many make the mistake of assuming things only momentarily, then quickly returning to doubt. They may believe in their desire one moment, then question it the next. This back and forth weakens the process. If you plant a seed, but keep digging it up to check if it's growing, you interrupt its natural unfolding. The same applies to assumption. Once you have accepted something as true within you, leave it alone. Do not seek signs, do not question, do not wonder when it will happen. Simply live as if it is already done. This does not mean you do nothing in the physical world. It means that whatever actions you take will be natural and effortless. When you assume something to be real, you are naturally drawn to behaviors, people, and opportunities that align with it. Without struggle, without force, the right path reveals itself. If you wish to see this truth in action, observe your own life. Think back to times when you expected something, whether good or bad, and notice how it came to be. Perhaps you dreaded an outcome and it happened exactly as you feared, or perhaps you were confident in something and it unfolded effortlessly. These are not coincidences. They are the result of your assumptions shaping reality. Your task is simple. Assume the best. Assume that you already have what you desire. Assume that life is working in your favor. Do not let the outer world dictate your beliefs. Let your beliefs dictate the outer world. When you master this, you will no longer struggle, no longer chase, no longer doubt. You will watch as life unfolds in perfect harmony with your assumption, and you will realize you have been the creator all along. The world you see before you is not separate from you. It is not something happening to you, nor is it something you must fight against or manipulate to change. It is merely a reflection of your inner state, responding precisely to the assumptions you hold about yourself and life. Most people believe that their circumstances determine their thoughts, but in reality their thoughts determine their circumstances. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, cast by the light of your inner awareness. Everything you experience is a manifestation of your consciousness. Whether you recognize it or not, you are constantly creating. The problem is that most people create unconsciously. They react to what they see, reinforcing old patterns, unaware that they are the source of those very patterns. They believe they must work harder, struggle more, and push against obstacles to achieve what they desire. But creation was never meant to be forced. It is an effortless unfolding, a natural expression of the state you dwell in. Imagine standing before a mirror. If you frown, the reflection frowns back at you. If you smile, the reflection smiles. You do not try to change the reflection directly, you simply change yourself, and the mirror adjusts instantly. The same principle applies to life. The external world is your mirror. If you wish to change it, you must first change the inner state that is being reflected. But what does it mean to shift your inner awareness? It means aligning yourself with the feeling of already having what you desire. Instead of longing for something and dwelling in lack, you must enter the state where it is already yours. This is not about pretending or fooling yourself. It is about genuinely feeling the reality of your desire as though it were already fulfilled. Most people do not trust this process. They believe they must take action first, that they must do something to make things happen. But the truth is, action alone is powerless if it does not come from the right state of consciousness. How many times have you seen people work tirelessly towards something only to remain stuck? This is because their external efforts contradict their internal beliefs. The world does not respond to what you do, it responds to who you are being. The key to effortless creation is to stop trying to manipulate the outer world and instead turn inward. If you desire abundance, do not chase money, assume yourself to be abundant and the opportunities will present themselves naturally. If you desire love, do not seek validation from others, assume yourself to be loved and the right relationships will unfold effortlessly. If you desire success, do not obsess over strategies. Assume yourself to be successful and the right doors will open without struggle. The reason this works is that consciousness is the only true reality. Everything you see is a projection of the state you occupy. The moment you shift your awareness and accept a new reality as true within yourself, the outer world must rearrange itself to match. It has no choice. It is bound by the law that consciousness creates reality. You may wonder, if this is so simple, why do most people not experience effortless creation? The answer is that they allow the external world to dictate their internal state instead of the other way around. They see lack and assume it must continue. They face rejection and assume they are unworthy. They experience failure and assume they are destined to struggle. But if they only knew that these circumstances were reflections of their past assumptions, they would stop reacting and start deliberately choosing new ones. The moment you take full responsibility for your consciousness, you reclaim your power. You stop trying to fix things externally and instead go directly to the source, your inner state. You understand that nothing outside of you needs to change first. The change happens within and the world follows. When you master this, life becomes effortless. You no longer struggle because you realize that everything you need already exists within you. You simply align with it and watch as the world reflects it back to you. Faith is the foundation upon which all creation rests. It is not blind hope, nor is it passive waiting. It is the deep, unwavering conviction that what you desire is already yours. The world has conditioned people to believe that effort is the key to success, that they must struggle, fight, and prove themselves to achieve anything worthwhile. But true creation is not born out of struggle. It is born out of faith. Look around at those who constantly push and strive, those who exhaust themselves trying to force things into being. Do they always succeed? Often, they find themselves running in circles, encountering endless resistance and wondering why their efforts do not bring them closer to their desires. The reason is simple. Action without the foundation of faith is powerless. The one who knows, who truly believes in the reality of their desire, does not need to force anything. They move through life with ease, knowing that all things are being arranged in their favor. Faith is not something to be earned, it is something to be assumed. You do not need proof before you believe. In fact, waiting for proof is the very thing that keeps your desires from manifesting. The outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you demand to see before you believe, you are affirming that you do not yet have what you desire, and the world will mirror that back to you. But if you can believe without the need for evidence, if you can rest in the certainty that your assumption is true, then reality must conform. Think of the simple act of planting a seed. You do not stand over it anxiously, wondering if it will grow. You do not dig it up each day to check its progress. You trust in the unseen forces at work, knowing that in due time the seed will sprout. Faith works in the same way. Once you have assumed the reality of your desire, once you have entered the feeling of already having it, your only task is to trust. Do not interfere, do not doubt, do not try to force things into place. Simply rest in the knowing that all is unfolding as it should. Doubt is the greatest obstacle to effortless creation. The moment you question whether your desire will come to pass, you interrupt the process. Doubt is like uprooting the seed before it has had the chance to grow. Many people sabotage their own manifestations by constantly looking for signs, wondering if things are working, and allowing fear to creep in. But faith does not waver. Faith does not ask when or how. Faith already knows that the desire is fulfilled and has no need to question. If you wish to experience true ease in life, let go of the habit of struggle. Stop believing that effort is the path to success. Instead, cultivate the state of already having what you desire. Walk through life as though your wish is already fulfilled. Speak as though it is done. Think from the end, not of the end. The one who truly believes does not need to fight for their desire. It is already theirs. This does not mean you will never take action, but when you do, it will be inspired, effortless, and perfectly timed. The one who has faith is naturally led to the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances without strain. They do not chase, they attract. They do not seek validation, they radiate certainty. The world may tell you that success requires struggle, that dreams are only achieved through sacrifice and hardship, but the truth is, everything you seek is already available to you. The only requirement is your faith. Do you believe that what you desire is already yours? Do you trust that the unseen forces are at work, even when there is no visible proof? If you can answer yes, then you have already won. You have already created the life you desire. The outer world is simply catching up to your inner reality. So release the need to struggle. Let go of doubt. Assume the feeling of already having, and then watch as life unfolds effortlessly before you. There is no need to fight, no need to force. Simply believe, and it shall be. When you plant a seed, you do not stand over it anxiously, demanding that it grow before your eyes. You do not dig it up each day to check its progress. You trust the process. You know that beneath the soil, unseen forces are at work, ensuring that at the right time, the seed will sprout. This is the natural order of creation. And yet, when it comes to their own desires, most people do the opposite. They set an intention, only to constantly interfere, doubt, and try to force the outcome. But true manifestation requires faith in the unseen. Once you have planted the seed of your desire, your only task is to let it unfold. Without interference, without anxiety, without needing to control every step of the process. The need to control comes from a lack of trust. People believe that if they do not take action, nothing will happen. But action, when taken from a place of doubt and desperation, only leads to frustration. How many times have you tried to force something into place, only to meet resistance at every turn? How often have you chased after something, only to find it slipping further away? This is because force and struggle create more struggle. The more you try to manipulate circumstances, the more they resist. But when you step back, when you allow things to unfold naturally, the path clears, and what you seek flows to you effortlessly. Consider the way life moves when you are in alignment. When you are calm, certain, and at ease, things fall into place with little effort. The right people show up. Opportunities arise unexpectedly. Everything seems to happen at the perfect time. This is not luck, it is the result of non-interference. When you do not resist, when you do not force, life has the space to work for you. But non-interference does not mean passivity. It does not mean sitting idly waiting for things to happen. It means acting only when inspired, moving only when led by inner knowing, rather than external fear. There is a difference between action that is forced and action that is aligned. The former comes from anxiety and desperation. The latter comes from trust and certainty. When you trust that your desire is already fulfilled, you do not act out of panic. You act naturally, effortlessly, and with perfect timing. Most people sabotage their desires by constantly looking for proof. They check their circumstances, searching for signs that things are working. But this very act reinforces the belief that their desire is not yet real. The moment you need to see proof, you are affirming that you do not yet have what you seek. And so the outer world mirrors that lack back to you. But if you can let go of the need for reassurance, if you can rest in the knowing that all is unfolding exactly as it should, the evidence will appear effortlessly. Doubt is the greatest interference. The moment you question whether something will happen, you disrupt the process. The mind tries to take control, seeking ways to make things happen faster, trying to force the outcome. But the more you interfere, the more you delay. Just as a plant grows best when left undisturbed, so too do your desires manifest most easily when you allow them to unfold without resistance. To master this principle, observe nature. The sun does not force itself to rise. The river does not struggle to flow. The flowers do not demand to bloom before their time. Everything in existence moves according to an effortless rhythm, unfolding perfectly without strain. You are part of this same natural order. When you align with it rather than fight against it, life flows smoothly. What must you do? Nothing except trust. Trust that the moment you have assumed the reality of your desire, creation is complete. Trust that unseen forces are working in your favor. Trust that you do not need to struggle, push, or manipulate reality to get what you want. Your only task is to remain in the feeling of already having, without doubt, without interference. When you stop interfering, when you let go of the need to control, you will see how effortlessly life brings you exactly what you need. The moment you release struggle, the moment you surrender control, is the moment everything falls into place. There is no need to force. There is no need to chase. Simply trust and watch the magic happen. You have never needed to struggle. You have never needed to force anything into place. Life was never meant to be a series of endless efforts and battles. Everything you have ever desired has always been within your reach, waiting for you to align with it, not through effort, but through assumption, faith, and trust. The world is not separate from you. It is a perfect reflection of your inner state. If you believe you must fight for what you want, you will always find yourself in struggle. If you believe that things come easily, they will. The only difference between effort and ease is the state of consciousness you choose to dwell in. You do not need to chase after things. You do not need to search for signs or proof. The moment you assume something is real, it is done. The only thing that can delay it is your own doubt, your own interference, your own need to control how it happens. But when you let go, when you trust the process, when you remain steadfast in your assumption, life moves in ways you could never predict, arranging all things in perfect order. So do nothing, nothing in the sense of struggle, nothing in the sense of forcing or chasing. Simply assume, believe, and trust. Rest in the knowing that your desire is already yours. And then watch as the world shifts before your eyes, reflecting the truth you have chosen to accept. You are the creator. You always have been. And when you finally understand this, when you finally stop interfering and allow the unseen forces to work for you, you will witness the greatest truth of all. Life was never against you. It was always waiting for you to realize your power.